Hello everyone, welcome to my biology classes. This is the part 6 from the chapter Plant Kingdom. So we have already discussed about algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms. So now in this video we are going to start with angiosperms, the last one. Alright, so let's see some characteristic features of angiosperms. So basically angiosperms are flowering plant that bears flower and do not have any kind of naked seeds, means the seeds are coated with the fruits. Okay, and they are found in wide range of habitat. They can be seen in anywhere. Okay, so they are also referred to as flowering plants. They are having pollen grains. The male gametes are known as the pollen grains and the female gametes are known as the ovules, are developed in a specialized structure known as the flower. So inside the flowers you can see the pollen grains also and the ovules also, the two male and female gametes we can see inside a fruit. Okay, while the seeds are enclosed in fruit, so seeds are having some kind of covering. Okay, they are having some kind of covering that is called your fruit, which where this covering was absent in your gymnosperms. Gymnosperms were having the naked seeds. Okay, and understood the first point. Next point, it is saying about the usefulness of angiosperms. They are used as fuel wood also, as serve as food, medicinal purpose. Okay, and many commercial important products they used to serve us. Okay, so these are some usefulness of angiosperms. All right, and the third point, it is saying all components of vascular tissues are present, means it is talking about xylem and phloem, means all the components, the 4 components of the xylem and the 5 components of the phloem, all are present in case of angiosperms. Is it clear? So moving on to the next slide. So these angiosperms are divided into basically two classes, two different classes it is divided into. The first one is Monocotyledon and the second one is Dicotyledon. From the name itself it is saying that Monocotyledon means single seeded, only single seed. You can see this in rice and all, only single seed, which are having single cotyledonous seed. It is talking about single seed. Okay, they are having parallel venation in the leaves. Do you know the types of venation in the leaves? Parallel venation means they are having parallel patterns. Okay, and trimerous flowers means the petals are arranged. Trimerous means 3 petals. It's like this. Basically the flowers are having 3 petal structure, trimerous flower, and they are having fibrous root system, means they are not having any kind of tape root system, they are having fibrous root. There is no any demarcation of primary or secondary roots. So this is the characteristic features of a monocotyledonous plant. Now the next point it is saying about the dicotyledonous plants, which are having 2 cotyledons, like in case of pea, gram, pea and all. You have seen two seeded. Okay, if we divide it, it can be divided into 2 parts. 2 cotyledons can be seen, and in the leaves the venation are of reticulate venation. So it's somewhat like this. You have seen this reticulate venations. Okay, they are having trimerous or pentamerous flower, means their petals are having, trimerous means 4 petal, or they can have 5 petal flower. Okay, and they are having taproot system. Taproot means they will have a primary root, and from the primary root they will have secondary root. Is it clear? This is becoming messed up. Let me conclude in the next slide. So In one I am writing about the monocotyledonous plant, and in one I am writing about the dicotyledonous plant. Okay, generally in monocotyledonous plant it is having a single cotyledon like in rice. Okay, in case of dicotyledonous plant they are having two cotyledon. This is not heart shape. Okay, this is a gram which I am trying to make, gram seeds, which are having two cotyledons. Here the leaves are having what? Parallel venation. Parallel venation they are having. But here the leaves are having your reticulate venation. Reticulate venation. Okay, here they are having fibrous root system, and here they are having a taproot system. Fibrous root, tap root. Okay, they are having trimerous flower, means 3 petals they will have, and they will have tetramerous, or tetra means 4 petal, or pentamerous petal, 5 petals. Is it clear? This one in case of monocotyledon, and this one in case of your dicotyledons. Is it clear? Okay, now then moving on to the next slide. So let us see the parts of the flower. In the first slide we have already discussed that in the flower bears the both male and the female gamete, the pollen grains and the ovules. Okay, so let us see the structure of the male and the female reproductive system. First, let us see the male reproductive system. The stamen is your male reproductive system, which is having your anther and your filament. See, this is your anther, which will produce the pollen grains, okay, and which are attached to the flower with a filament. Okay, this is a male gamete, male reproductive system, the stamen. And let us see the female reproductive system, that is known as your pistils. Pistils are having 3 different structure. That is, the first is called stigma. This one is your stigma, which will collect your pollen grains. This pollen grains will be falling here. Okay, so stigma used to collect. It is a receptor of the pollen grains, and they are having a tube-like structure which is called as a style, and they are having ovary. The swollen part is known as the ovary. Okay, and inside the ovary you have your small ovules. Ovules are present. Okay, is it clear? Both male and female reproductive part of a flowering plant. Stamen is your male reproductive part and pistils is your female reproductive part. Is it clear? So let's see the theory, whatever I have explained. The male sex organ in a flower is your stamen. They are known as the stamen, consisting of anther at the tip. Okay, at the tip. The males are having anther and a filament. So this is a male reproductive part. This is called your anther and this is called your filament. Both whole together is known as your stamen. Okay, the female sex organ is known as your pistil, which are consisting of a swollen ovary at the base, okay, long slender style and a stigma. So they are having, this is female reproductive part I am making. So this is stigma, style, ovary. Whole together the female reproductive part is called as pistils. So the receptive part of the female reproductive part, which receives the pollen grains, is your this stigma. This one is your stigma, and the long slender tube, this is called as your style, and the swollen part is called the ovary, which consists the what? Ovules, which will consist of ovules. Is it clear? So let us move on to the next slide. Here we'll talk about the embryo sacs, what all are present in a particular embryo sacs. So embryo sacs means inside the ovary it is talking about. Each embryo sacs have a 3-celled egg apparatus. The 3 different type of cell we can see, 3 different types we are talking about. One egg cell we are going to see. One egg cell. Sorry. So egg cells are 1 in number. This one is your egg cell. Okay, 1 egg cell. 2 synergids. So here synergids are another type of cell. 2 types of synergid. One this one and one this one. Okay, 2 synergids we can see. 3 antipodal cells we can see towards this end. 3 antipodal. 1, 2 and 3. Antipodal cells 3 types, and 2 polar nucleus. So in the center there are 2 nucleus you can see. So 2 polar nucleus we can see. Okay, these are different types of cells we are going to see in a particular embryo sac. Egg 1, polar nucleus 2, antipodal cell 3 and synergids 2 again. Okay, and this polar nucleus it is talking about, polar nucleus eventually, wait, let me shift this, eventually fuses, it is talking about. Okay, the polar nucleus eventually fuses to produce a diploid secondary nucleus. It is talking about fuses. The polar nucleus used to fuse, this one used to fuse and produce a diploid secondary nucleus. Okay, understanding? Later on when it matures, this one used to fuse together. Okay, so generally what used to happen in this case, that generally the 2 sperm will come, the male gamete, the 2 male gametes used to come through the pollen tube. Okay, so what will happen, the one will fuse with the egg, one male gamete will fuse with the egg cell, and one will fuse with the polar nucleus, male gamete. Means here in case of angiosperms, double fertilization used to take place. Double fertilization used to take place. Okay, so you understood how in the embryo sac cells are arranged. So in the micropylar, in this particular end, in this micropylar end, you can see 2 synergid cells are present, and along with the synergids 1 egg cells are also present, and towards the center there are 2 polar nucleus which used to fuse together when they are matured. Okay, and in the calazar end, this one is called the calazar end, where you can see 3 antipodal cells are present. Okay, so when there is a fertilization occurs, when the pollen grains used to come to the stigma. Okay, stigma is the receptive part of the female reproductive organ, we have already said. So the stigma used to receive the pollen grains, and from the pollen grains the pollen tube will arise, and it moves to the style and enters the ovary through the micropylar end, through this end. This is the inner part of the ovary, we have already told you. So from this end the 2 male gametes used to enter. And what happened when the one male gamete will fuse with the egg, okay, and the another male gamete will fuse with this polar nucleus. Is it clear? Means here double fertilization is occurring. 2 male gametes are involved. One is fusing with the egg cells, and one is fusing with the polar nucleus. Is it clear? All right. So moving on to the next slide, let's see some examples of angiosperms. The smallest angiosperms known is Wolffia. This is the smallest angiosperm known, that is known as Wolffia. And the tallest angiosperms is your eucalyptus. This is the eucalyptus tree. It is the tallest angiosperms. Is it clear? Examples are very important for your examination point of view, so you have to know. Okay, so this is the end of the chapter. So in the next video I will bring some multiple choice question from this chapter. So thank you for your patient hearing.